Yeah, we can talk about the D&D stuff now. So we already went over the situation, but I'll break it down real quick. Wizards of the Coast slash Hasbro, they made an inexplicably awful decision to change their open game license, making it very restrictive to have your own campaigns and do your own stuff with the D&D world. This targets things like Critical Role, stuff like that, where you have these campaigns that go on for a long time and it becomes a huge piece of content all over the internet. They want royalties on that kind of content. They released a really misguided new set of rules that you have to follow. It's all terrible. I won't get into the nitty gritty. But in a nutshell, it was basically a community killer. Without exaggeration, their new game licensing, their new OGL, was actually a community ruining decision that would absolutely just tank all of it, for sure. That's just the reality of it. There was huge pushback on Twitter. A lot of people realized through like an anonymous email from a employee at Wizards of the Coast that they cared deeply about D&D Beyond subscriptions. That's their main metric they use. So it became a big trend on Twitter and Reddit to cancel your D&D Beyond subscription, to really hit Wizards where it hurts the most. After, I think it was 2 days, only 2 days of tons and tons of people canceling their subs, Wizards finally made a statement talking about the OGL and the changes, and it is such a passive-aggressive statement. Does this article have it? Because I'd like to show you the actual statement in its entirety real quick. Thanks, the resub Flash. And the resub Machine, him, Ryu, and the Prime Ollie. At the Pizza in London. Where is it? This is the leaked draft. So this is like the new OGL stuff. I'm looking for the official statement. Okay, so here's their new statement. So I won't read all of it to you, even though it's not that long. I still feel like it'd be just easier to summarize it. Basically, the tone they take is they walk everything back, and they're like, well, the actual reason behind this was Gigabrain. It's some real supervillain anime shit where we were 5 steps ahead. We wanted all of this to leak so we could get your feedback. We wanted to hear from you guys because we take all of your feedback so seriously. We wanted your feedback on potential OGL changes. And in fact, the main reason we were doing it is because we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D and Web3 blockchain games and NFTs by making clear that the OGL is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. So they tried to play like the hero, protect you from hateful and discriminatory products, and ensure that the OGL is for the content creator and homebrewer, the players, and the community. Which makes no fucking sense because the only reason anyone was able to give feedback is because it leaked. It leaked. They didn't officially post it and ask for feedback. The goddamn thing leaked. Also, this doesn't even talk about the royalties. How do royalties protect from Web3 hateful discriminatory products and this kind of shit? That doesn't even address like the main thing about taking royalties, as well as also having the clause in there where not only do you take royalties, you can take their entire property and sell it for yourself as your own thing without even needing their permission. I didn't talk about that in my video, by the way. That's one that I probably should have, but I focused more on the monetary side. One other thing in the proposed new OGL was they have full rights to whatever you'd make, so they could take that and they could sell it as their own, they could monetize it as their own, and they wouldn't even need your permission. It was so dumb. It was so fucking dumb. Thanks to the resub. Asni, Nuclear, and the give sub Nuts, and the Prime Casey. But here, let me get back to the new statement. Where do they... Yeah, they walked back the royalty, but I want to find... Where is it? They're only half right. We both won. Oh, here we go. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we. Whoever wrote this needs to be fired. I don't know what team you're using for your press statements, but they are off. What this shows, plain and clear, is what people were worried about from the get-go, especially from the leaks and the employee emails. You treat your fans as competition, as different teams. There's the Wizards of the Coast team, and there's the community, and you guys are at war. So it's about who wins and who loses. Your stance should have been, We're all playing for the same team, so nobody won and nobody lost. We're all in this together. But instead, you went for like, no, you didn't win. You kind of won, but at the end of the day, we win. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. It's literally saying everyone wins. I don't get where it's coming from. No. They won and so did we is literally saying the opposite. It's saying you won, but so did we. There's a separation. There's two teams. Talking about winning and losing on different sides. I don't know why that's hard to see. The internal memos were talking about how Wizards of the Coast treats the community as obstacles for money. So they look at them in a different way. As like actual competition. So those successful campaigns that are third-party homebrew, they view as actual competition in D&D. Which is obviously not healthy since the entire D&D brand is built on the community. So them coming out and saying some shit like this kind of confirms that fear that they literally view those people as competition instead of like customer. Well, customer is the wrong word. Instead of just part of the same ecosystem. It's just a complete lack of respect. It's just all of it just seems to come out against the community while trying to pretend that it wasn't. Like this shit right here, our plan was always to solicit the input of our community before any update to the OGL, and the drafts you've seen were attempting to do just that, except that's a blatant lie. You already contacted Kickstarter about your 20% royalty thing. The only reason you got any input from the community is because all of that leaked. So you had already taken the steps to ensure the OGL could go through without a hitch, without ever getting any input from the community. It's a fucking lie. He's a tier 1 GBA, and the resub Arcgrim, David, and Webb. And the bits JD. The arrogance of this company is astounding. Yeah, it is. It is kind of wild. I don't think saves them by any means. Especially when Pathfinder put out such a strong statement that got so much support. So, I don't think they're getting any new D&D Beyond subscriptions. I don't think anyone's going to re-sign up. I really do think this will be pretty much the start of a slow decline of D&D and its brand. It'll transition much more into like Pathfinder and those kinds of other ones. I just don't see anyone going back because it's such a community-driven thing in the first place. You lost the trust of the whole community. Don't know how you make that back. Another great thing about this, and I don't know how many people realize this, all of this broke at the absolute best time for Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons because they have that stupid Chris Pine movie coming out soon called Dungeons & Dragons. So, I think this comes out next month. Maybe even less. So all the people that were going to see this probably aren't going to see that anymore. The Last of Us HBO looks incredible. Oh, I thought it was out. Yeah, all the reviews are good for it. There's the resub Dark Wolf. No one cares about D&D drama? I don't think you could be more wrong. This has been huge news. D&D is probably one of the most recognizable names in anything gaming related. That's a name that's had fucking 50 years worth of like media hysteria, satanic panic, and still surviving and absolutely blowing up. Literally the biggest stream on Twitch is D&D. It's Critical Role. They are legitimately the biggest Twitch stream in terms of the revenue they bring in. They have their own Amazon Prime show. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's straight up delusion. You don't have to like the game. I'm not saying just because it's super popular it has to be the best game ever. But it is indefensible that it is a huge property still. Inarguable that it's a huge property still.